Take a breath. Welcome to Space to Exhale, the podcast, weekly inspiration for self-love and soft living. I am your host, Lisa Hurley. I'm a 3-time Anthem Award winner, Reiki master, and community builder. And I'm the author of the book Space to Exhale. Through healing modalities like breathwork, affirmations, and meditations, I'll guide you on a life-changing journey to help you know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and create much-needed space to exhale. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Space to Exhale, the podcast, a safe, serene sanctuary where we focus on high vibrations, affirmations, soft living, and self-care. I am your host, Lisa Hurley. I'm a 3-time Anthem Award-winning activist, a Reiki master, and the author of Space to Exhale, a handbook for curating a soft, centered, serene life. I am here to help us all do just that. Take a breath, relax, say no to hustle culture, and yes to a life of ease. My hope and dream is for us all to curate lives that we don't feel we need a break from. And today I am super excited to introduce to you my guest, Dr. Chantell Frazier. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Lisa. Hi, everyone.
I am so happy that you are here. Thank you so much for joining me.
I'm so happy to be here, too. Thank you for inviting me on. This
Of,
is going to
of
be fun.
course.
I'm excited.
It is going to be fun. And before we get right into it, I'm going to do 2 things. First of all, I am going to read your bio so people know the expert that is addressing them today and informing them today. And then we're going to do a couple of deep breaths. So let me read your bio first. So, folks, get ready. Dr. Dr. Chantell Frazier is the founder and CEO of Anansi Research, a strategic research firm that specializes in storytelling for impact, health, and well-being. She is the founder of the Healthy Scholars Community and creator of the recently released Strategic Storytelling for Researchers course, which she launched to empower scholars, academics, and experts with the tools they need to shift narratives, secure funding, and speak boldly about research that matters. Her work has been published in government reports and peer-reviewed journals, including Health Affairs, AIDS and Behavior, the Journal of Public Health Management and Practice, Military Medicine, and the Journal of Patient Experience. Dr. Frazier believes research can improve health, advance equity, and save the world. She is also, I love this, working on her first book, a love letter, a call to action, and a roadmap for Black women ready to build something the world has never seen before. Wow. Amazing.
Yes, and thank you. I like hearing about me. It's nice.
It's nice. Is it weird though hearing about yourself that way?
Yeah. It's strange, but it's also really nice. As you know, I mean, you are a student of Lovey too. I have her book here, the Professional Troublemaker Fear Fighter Manual. And she goes into detail about Orikis and you talk about that in your book too, which I also have here. I've got my stack of books. Is any good academic thought leader? And yeah, it's just one of those things. It's something that I've been thinking about, right? Like, how do you talk about yourself? How do you describe yourself? What is in your bio? And making sure that those are, that you're speaking power and joy and ease and all that good stuff over yourself and success. Because a lot of times we don't really acknowledge our successes and talk
Exactly.
about them. And, there's always like achieve more, do more, do more, but look at everything you've done already, And so like writing a bio is a really nice chance to do that. And it's
Yeah.
always nice to hear.
I love it. I love it. So before we get fully into the conversation, this is space to exhale. So that is what we're going to do. We are going to exhale together for a moment. So let us get grounded and take a few deep breaths together as a community. So, do folks out there who are watching and listening, get yourself comfortable. Close your eyes if you wish, relax your shoulders a bit, relax your forehead. We hold a lot of tension and stress in our forehead, in our eyebrows. Relax your jaw a little bit, and just try and get centered. And now we're going to inhale and exhale. And again, inhale and deep exhale. And one more time, inhale and exhale. Okay, so now we're grounded and we're relaxed. And, Chantell, this is something that we both believe so much in literally creating space to exhale,
Yeah.
even before either of us use that term.
Mm-hmm.
So, right? And so when did you first realize that you needed space to exhale?
Yeah. So that, probably deep in the throes of burnout. So this is a very familiar story. I was in academia, earned my Ph.D., was working full time while earning my Ph.D., left that world-ish, like left for my first like actual job as a PhD.
Right.
Even though I was working full-time before leaving. So it was like work, graduate, work. I think it took about a week off. And then I worked for about 6 years and rose up the ranks. I think I was promoted almost every year I was there. One of my very sort of standing out memories from my first probably month of working there, like I had brought pajama pants and was in the office like late enough that I like changed into comfy clothes, and was working on some report or something and was very like, I am so committed.
Oh, no, no.
And, I did good work and I got it done and I was, a valuable team member, but it was also, it was never that serious. We don't need to do that. Like you can go home and go to sleep and come back to work the next day.
Right.
But, that was my pace for my years as a consultant. And it was not a healthy pace. It was not a good pace. And it got to the point where, there was a pandemic and I was still pushing. And I had just come back from maternity leave and was like a new director of a department and all of that. And, there was no childcare during the pandemic. So I was full-time mom and
Right.
full-time work, and my husband was full-time work. And we also had a dog. And just, it came to a point where I realized how little support I had. And like a lot of things coalesced at the same time. And I ended up deciding, if I want to live and be here for my child and be healthy and happy, instead of like snapping all the time and having a very short fuse and having like no things and not eating or sleeping in healthy ways and also working and also momming, that I needed to step away. So I left my job and for about a month was like, well, what do I do? What is, what do people do with their time? What is a sabbatical?
What is this sabbatical of which you speak, right?
What are you talking about? Which is really interesting. And hey, Liku. Hi,
Hey, Eugenia, Liku, Linda. Hey.
Um, And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to be very, very intentional about the next thing I do, even though I've been told by a couple of different people, oh, you could start a business. You could start a business. People were saying this to me for years before I, listened and believed them. And I said, sort of, I'm probably not, well, I don't know if I'm going to do that. And I started looking for a new position. But it just came time for me, I was thinking about what's next and thinking about what I didn't want to repeat. And instead of recognizing the need for space as a thing, I was thinking about, what is the cost of not having the space, right? Like, what is the cost if I don't? The cost was too high.
Yeah.
The rent's too high. So I thought about, if I want to build a company that's healthy, then I have to do it in a healthy way and have to do it in a slow way. And I am lucky and privileged and blessed and all those things to be able to think about that as I build and taking the space for me and thinking about what I want to do, because I'm surrounded by lots of other entrepreneurs and know lots of other people who are doing this. And it is a long, hard slog. And it can take over your life, and it can take all of your time and energy if you let it. So if you're not intentional about it, it's very easy to just repeat the thing that you came from previously and continue to run yourself into the ground. And you don't have to do that to be successful. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of, resistance, a lot of like, okay, I want to do this, but if I can't do it today, that's okay. And a lot of check-ins for yourself. So it was really not a realization that I needed the space. It was a realization, if I keep going at the rate I'm going, this is not going to work. And certainly not over the long haul. So yeah,
it won't end well.
Yes, it's not going to end well. Yeah, and it's not what I want to model for my little people either. So.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Because it's so important. That's actually one of the things I write about in the book, that I didn't realize I was learning these things at the time, but I saw my mom, make time at least every week, once a week. She made time to, well, now we'll say she made time to exhale, but she made time to rest.
Yeah.
She made time for herself. She spent a lot of time reading, and sometimes, she had two small children. Sometimes the reading was to us, but often the reading was, no, I am reading my book.
Yeah.
I'm reading my book. This is mom time,
Yeah.
And so modeling that is so important. It's something that a lot of us actually don't think about. Yeah. So thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah. And I tried to do that the other day with my little 2-year-old. I was like, you read your book and mommy's going to read hers. She kept crawling over and looking at my book, and she was like, what is this? It doesn't have pictures. What are you doing?
Right. She's like, this is not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun at all. Right. So today's topic is about Black genius and rest and academia and all of those things that you're an expert on. And so I think we both know, and many of those in the comments and in the audience know, that the terms Black genius and Black excellence, there are terms that we're familiar with, and they're used to celebrate and acknowledge our brilliance. But are there other ways of defining and celebrating Black genius beyond performance, productivity, beyond beyond all the titles, which we love? Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I have all of my friends have a list of letters behind their names, right? So I am all about it. But how do we validate ourselves and define Black genius beyond the letters?
Yeah, I love this question because I see these a lot of the time about Black excellence, and this puts so much pressure on us. And I think I would give a gentle invitation to think about the connotation versus denotation of words and what is maybe meant
Ooh,
by them versus what you take from them and what you decide,
okay.
and how you define things. And so I think of Black genius and Black excellence, and Black girl magic too falls into this category as less of a thing that is put on me, but as a really wonderful tradition that I come from, right? Like your Black genius is inherent,
Mm-hmm.
your magic is inherent. Like you are inherently like worthy and valuable and brilliant, and that's
Yes.
amazing. And so it's not something that you have to perform. It's not something that you have to do. It's not a standard that you have to meet. It is a thing that you are, and that's
Yes.
nice, and
Oh, I
that's
love
beautiful, and
that.
that's amazing. And so we speak words over ourselves. We were talking about this a little bit before,
Mm-hmm.
and should be speaking words over each other like, oh, you're brilliant. You're amazing. You're beautiful, right? Like, say that. Um, and it's not because of something that you do, it's just who you are. And this is something very nice that came out of being a parent, too. I'm just so happy about my kids, like, just being there. Like, they wake up in the morning and I'm thrilled, and I'm like, yay.
Oh,
Like,
I love that.
to do a thing to
Right.
be
They
right?
exist
Like,
and you're thrilled because they
yeah,
exist.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So think about like all of the people who are thrilled that you exist, like your friends and your family. And, think about the people who, your colleagues who, you may see them in the office. And when you do, their faces light up, right? Like this is who you
Mhm.
are. This is where you are. This is where you exist. Will Smith says, and go, God, what's the name of that movie? Hitch. He's like, this is where you live. This is where you are, right here. Sit right
Mhm.
here. And so it's like a nice and wonderful thing and not a standard that you have to meet. It is not if you produce this, you will be a Black genius. No, you are a Black genius because you walked in the room. Okay, start from there. And then anything you do is a bonus. It's a gift. It's a nice thing that you get to write in your biography that you did.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it because we are, let me tell you, and Liku said it, we do love us some letters behind our
Yes.
name. Right. We sure do, Liku. We sure do. We love us some letters behind our names, and they're almost, especially in certain families, like everybody that I know, everybody in my family has been to university,
Yeah.
a bachelor's. I think me and my mom has a bachelor's. I have a bachelor's and my master's. My
Mhm.
sister has a bachelor's and two masters.
Yeah.
My dad has gone on to, he has a doctorate.
Yeah.
So that's
And he's
what.
like what is that term for like the distinguished retired professor?
Oh, he's a
Kind of like a
professor, right? Professor emeritus.
emeritus. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes, of
Emeritus. Yeah,
Africanistan.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he was deep. He was
Yeah.
deep in the academic halls. And actually, that's one of the reasons I
Yeah.
wanted to discuss this with you, because I remember,
Mhm.
um, and again, it's different growing up and going to school and being educated
Mhm.
in a majority Black environment versus a majority white one makes such a huge difference.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I remember being surprised almost when, he would get he would get like negative feedback sometimes
Oh yeah.
about,
Mhm.
yeah, and I
Reviewer
was like,
too.
this can't be it can't be my dad that they're talking about. Could never be,
What are you
but
talking
when,
about? Yeah.
right, when he was pursuing his doctorate, like it was a struggle,
Yeah.
this person who was a noted Caribbean scholar and was
Mhm.
very highly respected and so on, and all of a sudden had to keep proving himself,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, actually that's a great segue to our next question. So it was for him, it's for you, it's for Black women and Black people in general in academia. Like we are taught, and not just taught, we are
Mhm.
it's demanded of us
Mhm.
that we grind for excellence, that we continue to have to prove ourselves over and over and over again. And so how do we get rid of that? How do we stop that?
Mhm.
How do we push back against it? And also, how can we make change at the institutional or systemic level?
Mhm.
Yeah. How do we do that?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is part of why I think what I do and am going to continue doing through like Healthy Scholars and all of just like posting about like burnout and taking care of yourself is really important, because we need reinforcements and we need the people who are there in the trenches to survive and to take care of themselves and be able to stick around and do the good work that they are doing.
Yes.
I would never have even gone to grad school. I don't think, I mean, I might have anyway, but I was in particular pulled aside by two professors of color. One was Latino, and one was a Black woman. And they were both like, you are really good at this in terms of like sociology as undergrad, and really got me into doing research and thinking about research and publishing and all of that. And if they hadn't had the bandwidth to do that, then Dr. Frazier might not have been a thing, you know? And it is such an important space. And we, you know, talking about like the history of Black genius and intellectualism, we have a history of intellectual rigor. You know, there were thousands of books in libraries in ancient Africa that were burned to the ground so that there was no
Please tell the people, because the people, and you know which people I'm talking about, but the people do not know.
With books of like, how many languages do you want them in, right? Like all of the languages. There was international trade. There was trade across the continent. There's trade across other continents. It was very important for people to be learned. People were taught things. You were taught to read and write and to do math. Math came from us. Yeah.
Math and science and all of
like,
that. That was big.
Came from us.
Yes.
And, you know, besides it being really important historically, it's also been really joyful and celebrated, right? Like I loved reading as a kid because my mom loved reading and reading to us. It was instilled in us that this was inherently good, but we were also, you know, socialized by like, if you get straight A's, you get to go to Toys R Us. So that was always a good thing too, right?
Look, I was like, if I get straight A's, I need to get another set of straight A's. That's how I would do it. But that's another podcast. Because there's also that in, you know, and excuse me, I don't know if this is West Indian culture or what it is. I've heard some of my African brethren and sisters say the same thing, that it's like, okay, great, you got an A. What's happening with this B?
Yeah.
Where's that? You could get 10 A's. You get that one B, that's a problem. You know, but hopefully, you know, we are doing better and getting better, like you said, at celebrating and acknowledging our wins and so on.
Yeah. And it was incentivized in both, you know, carrot and stick ways, right? Like bringing home a B was, you know, not like, oh, well, you could have gotten an A, but if you brought home straight A's, you got, you know, rewards. Like that was great. And that was also, you know, like that's just a stepping stone to being able to do other things, right? Like the smarter you are, the more opportunities you have, the more things you can do. And so that was taught to us really early. And in terms of just like building into the institution ways for us to be successful, I think you have to bring the joy back into it, keep the joy. Learning is this beautiful and amazing thing. Like there are sort of negative social narratives about, oh, you think you're better than so-and-so, or, oh, you know, you think you're so smart. And, you know, we have to counter that with the narratives of being smart is good. Being learned is good. Reading is wonderful. Being able to engage with other people in their disciplines as well as your discipline is good. The more you learn, the better you are. And there's, you know, we can talk a lot all day about the attacks on intelligence and schools and the Department of Education in general. But all of that is, you know, it's coming from what I like to call unreliable narrators. And so as, you know, people who read, we understand the unreliable narrator is the one who's like saying some stuff, but you don't necessarily have to listen, right? Or you take everything they say with a grain of salt. And this is a lot of the times why I talk to people about storytelling too, because then you can recognize stories as they are being fed to you and talk about, what are the things that you take from this? What do you listen to? What do you ingest? And what story do you tell about yourself and your family and your history of perhaps being learned and coming from the oldest libraries on earth?
Oh my gosh. Again, the oldest libraries on earth.
Yeah.
And so we're in a paradigm right now where, like you said, there does seem to be an attack on um, learnedness, education, scholarship, and it is built into the system. Is there any way that, especially a lot of us are in these academic departments or whatever it happens to be, and there might be one or two of us, are
Yeah.
there any ways that we can successfully push back against these institutions? Is there any way that we can hold them responsible, or is it just, what, do your degree and get your degree, and then and then do the work, then fight back after you have your letters, after your name? Like, what do you suggest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would suggest doing the things that keep you whole and as healthy and as protected as is humanly possible, and looking for allies and co-conspirators, because they're, again, like the unreliable narrator. I love that Linda put that up there. Hi, Linda. I'm happy to see you here, because the idea that you are alone is an idea that drives you towards a certain amount of actions or inactions, and you are in fact not alone. Like, the civil rights movement was a whole lot of people of a lot of different colors and socioeconomic statuses and interests. Black farmers financed a lot of actions. There were a lot of people like feeding protesters, housing people, giving community space, people who owned property and saw that property as something they could use to drive things forward in a progressive way. You are not alone. You might have white colleagues who are like in it with you. You would never know, but they, are there and do exist. And so take care of yourself and build your community with people who you trust and who trust you. Allow yourself to find sponsors and mentors. My mentor throughout grad school, the chair of my dissertation committee, was a white woman who is amazing. We still like our family, and we talk all the
I love
time,
that.
visits. And there are a lot of people who want to see you succeed because you're brilliant, right? And they don't care what color you are, or they're like even more invested in your brilliance because they know history and they know the
Yes.
likelihood of you being here because of the things that you've gone up against. And they are not uninformed about those things, and they act on it. So I would say reach out, collaborate, find people. There may or may not be people at your institution. That matters less now. You can interact with people at other institutions, at institutions in other countries. We've had a lot of intellectual exit as a result of what's going on. And you can find community and jobs and opportunities. Don't let people tell you that they don't exist. They, in fact, do. And that narrative serves them. It does not serve you. So be cautious in the narratives that you ingest and believe.
I love that. Speaking of communities.
Yeah.
We love a good segue. So you yourself have created a community, probably more than one, but the one I know about is the Healthy Scholars community. And you also did the Love Notes for Black Women in Academia campaign. I think it was like a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was maybe like 2 years
2 years ago.
Yeah,
So
and that
tell
was
us, tell the people about the community. Tell the people about
yeah.
Healthy Scholars and about Love Notes,
Mhm,
because creating sanctuaries
mhm,
is so important. And I always say, look, I have a community, you have a
mm,
community. I
yeah,
know at least 3, 5, 10 different people with communities. As many as I can join as possible, I join or support or repost, because it's
yeah.
not about a competition thing. It's about everybody finding what they need. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So anyway, this is your moment. So tell the people.
Yeah, so this is another one of those narratives that gets pushed about, we have to be in competition with each other, or if one person succeeds and another person can't. All myths, not true. Do not believe. It is far better to work in collaboration with other people. I started the Healthy Scholars community for people in academia, consultants, researchers, anyone who's about that, thought-led life, to focus again on you as a whole person. So we do, I've got a friend in there who does organic gardening. She pops by occasionally and has done a couple of talks about building a garden, even if you don't have space outside, inside, having your hands in dirt, having plants available to you, cultivating and growing things, and ideally growing your own healthy food that you can then ingest that will help you. But
Mhm.
there's also something very healing about having your hands in dirt and planting and being outside in sunlight. I joke with her and other people that people are really just complicated plants anyway. Like, you need light, you
I
need sun, you need
love it.
water. You
Yes.
are just a complicated plant.
Plant with
So
emotions.
yeah.
Although even with that, like plants have emotions.
Yes,
They,
yeah, they
they
respond to
do.
music, they
They
respond to
do.
being spoken to and all of
Mhm.
that good stuff. And so all of that stuff you should be doing for yourself, right? Like, you should be playing nice music for yourself. If you are a lo-fi person, you can work and listen to lo-fi while you work. I have a little like fake, oh gosh, I have a little fake plant right here. You can see
Oh,
even
I
fake
love it.
plants. It's cute.
They
Yeah,
work.
it brings
Yes,
you
I love
joy.
it.
Um, and so back to Healthy Scholars, we are going to have a writing challenge coming up. I think that you voted in the poll because I said, I have to get some writing done. Guys, do you want to do a writing challenge together?
Right.
It's basically like a community support center for you to remember that you are a brain, but you are also a person, and to remind you to get exercise. I posted in there, there's a yoga challenge going on.
Yes.
Lesline is in the middle of her 30-day yoga challenge, and that's a resource for people. Um, my doc friend who's here, Dr. Harbin, does writing retreats for academics. I dropped that in the community. So anyone who wants to sign up for that, you can do a writing retreat.
Oh,
It's all,
beautiful.
it's stuff that we have to get done, but you don't have to get it done alone. And you can have a community of people who are really invested in their own health and your health too, which is really important because we're taught to do things like push through to midnight and work without eating and not take breaks and just produce. When in fact, the more the more you take care of yourself, the more productive you can be, the better work you can do, the longer you'll live and be able to contribute. So yeah, that's what Healthy Scholars is. And Love Notes was just one of those. I think that came out of that really hard period of time
Mm-hmm.
where Dr.
Excuse me.
Oh, bless you. Where Dr. Gay had just been ousted from Harvard leadership. And we had a couple of different academics who died by suicide or were overworked, and it was all in the
Dr.
public.
Candia Bailey, right?
Also, yes, yeah, Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey. And it was just, I just want you all to know how important you are, and how amazing you are. And I just, wanted to write some love letters. And so I posted on LinkedIn, like, who else wants to do this with me? And I got an amazing response. I also got a payment from one of our white allies who was just like, you should be paid for this work. Here is some money. Continue to go be great.
Go be great. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often, but every now and then somebody really
Yeah.
sees and appreciates what you're doing. And beyond seeing and appreciating, they remunerate.
Yes, you're just like, you should be paid for this. Here's
You
some
should
money.
be paid. Exactly.
It was fantastic. And so the website is there. The website will continue to be there. It is literally called lovefory'all.carrd,
I love
card,
it.
two
I love
R's,
it. Yes.
.co. And you can go there and submit a letter. Many of the people I see in the comments now have either submitted letters, or I know that they've gone to the site and looked through.
Yes.
And it's always really nice to just see all the loving words and support. And so I really also encourage people to just share it. I made it to try to be as easy to remember as possible, website address, and as shareable as possible. And just, share it with people who could use a lift, especially Black women in academia. But, Black women outside of it too. Go read the love notes. They apply to you too.
They're beautiful. They're
Yeah.
beautiful. I included it as a resource at the back of my book, because I'm like, even if, and we hope that more people, like you said, more people go and write more love notes, even if it becomes, sort of a static artifact, which again, we hope not, but even as is right now today, it is so beautiful and perfect exactly as it is. And the love notes just fill your heart and soul and make you feel better about yourself and about life. It is absolutely lovely. So thank you. Well, thank you very much, Matt. There you go. That's Matt, you're hired as producer. Matt put up the email address, lovefory'all.carrd.co. So that is the address for Love Notes for Black Women in Academia. And so part of this whole discussion is about soft life, soft living, all of that. And I don't know what your experience has been. Mine has certainly been that the whole soft life, I don't know, vibe. The vibe. You knew I was going to say that, though. That's one of my favorite words.
I did, yeah.
You did. The whole soft life vibe is often dismissed as frivolous or unserious, or it gets a lot of critique. So how does one respond to critiques about soft life, or critiques that suggest that soft living is not compatible with scholarship or serious work, or anything of that nature? The people who believe that soft living and work are incompatible.
Yeah, I would like to go back to the unreliable narrator. Like, who are these people who are saying this? And should you believe them? Considering the facts, considering that sleep research is a whole field, considering that neuroscientists have shown what happens to your brain when it's stressed and your ability to function, versus what happens to your brain when you dream or when you imagine the future. It actually lights up and you find new neural pathways. We know that sleep is really important. Even when I was working on military and veterans health, there's like a whole field of like sleep studies, and it was becoming more and more important to make sure that people, in order to be in top form, that they were getting enough sleep and getting good quality sleep. So rest and having a soft life and taking a breath and doing things like having mindfulness exercises, having like a Calm app, or oh gosh, what is the other one?
There's Calm, Headspace
on your phone.
Balance.
All of that. Also historically, like some of the most effective people in our history, Rosa Parks didn't just do yoga. She was a yogi. She taught yoga classes, and people don't know that. There is a very famous quote from Audre Lorde about, self-care being self-preservation. The people who know what matters actually know that rest and being kind to yourself matters. So listen to those people, listen to the actual experts. Don't listen to the people who are like, oh, poo, rest and soft life, while they're running themselves into the ground and they die at 58. Like, don't listen to those people.
We don't want that.
Exactly. You don't want to follow this person. You don't want to do what they're doing.
No. See what they're doing and do the opposite, because it's not working. It is not working.
Yeah.
So this actually is a great place for me to read an excerpt from Space to Exhale. And those of you who have been following the podcast know that I read an excerpt every week. Those of you who are new here, welcome. I read an excerpt every week. And this one is very special because one of the things that was important to me as I was writing Space to Exhale was to cite as many Black women as possible. Black people in general, but especially Black women. And so, and of course, like I said, in my circle, everybody has letters and letters and letters behind their name. And so Dr. Chantell Frazier was one of the people I turned to when I wanted a quote about soft living and how to incorporate that into your life. So it is a short excerpt, but it includes the citation, the quote from Dr. Chantell. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. And so, here it is. So it's from chapter 10, Curate Your Soft Life. And again, the topic is self-care. Self-care and soft living do not have to be complicated or expensive. We each get to decide what self-care looks like for us, whatever that might be. Dr. Chantell Frazier, a medical sociologist and CEO and founder of Anansi Research, advises that the most important thing is to make self-care a continuous part of our lives rather than a sporadic effort. And here's where Dr. Chantell's quote starts. From a sociological and public health perspective, I need you to understand that caring for yourself physically and mentally is absolutely crucial. As Black women, we are often the most burdened but the least supported members of society. So we need to be engaged in ongoing self-care practices, and that includes rest. Build in time for little exhales and big ones. Yes, vacation and PTO are important, but so are regular walks outside. So is 5 minutes of journaling. So are affirmations, positive music, and joyful movement. So is time pouring back into ourselves with people who love and truly support us. We put endless amounts of pressure on ourselves to succeed, knowing that our success is absolutely crucial, but missing that our being around is even more crucial. We hold up the sky. There is nothing without us, but that doesn't mean keep pushing through. That means rest, rejuvenate, and relax for the good of your long-term ability to survive and thrive. That means center what you need, not what others need, and give yourself time and space to exhale as much and as often as you can.
Yeah.
Yay, Dr. Chantell. And thanks again. Oh my God. Thanks again for contributing that. What's it feel like to hear your words? I mean,
even better when you read it, Lisa. I'm going to go back to when we were at your book launch and someone was like, you have to do the audiobook for this because it would be amazing. Yes, I'm going to come back and listen to that again. It was super nice. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Speaking of which, there has been an update. I will be doing, all I can say for now is I have won and I will be doing the audiobook, and that's all I'll say for now.
That is awesome. Yes.
So big things are going and more details to come on that. So I'm super
congratulations.
Excited.
That's amazing. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations to us all because we've all won.
I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not sure exactly when it's going to happen. But knowing that it will sort of sets my mind at ease.
It's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. So, I'll probably, I might do like a fundraise, everything as we know.
Yeah.
You are on your publishing journey as well. Let's just take a little detour,
Yeah.
actually, if you don't, if I may, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So
So I will.
you are writing a book,
Yes.
and I know some of it will be, like kind of like under wraps. What can you
Mhm.
share with us about the
Mhm.
book? What can you share about your publishing journey so far? Tell us everything that you can, because I'm
Yeah.
excited. Yes.
Yes. So it's not, there will not be much that I can share at this moment, but the little
Understood.
snippets that I can share um is that, when I started building my, Liku.
Big
when
things
I
are gone,
yeah,
Liku.
when I started my journey, and really like decided this needs to be a book, it was it felt like an assignment. I was receiving an assignment.
Mm,
And it's all about the benefits to my life. Starting this company has like pursuing entrepreneurship, building a business, and what I've seen both like historically and in this moment, and why it is something that more of us need to pursue. And I tell people this all the time about entrepreneurship. It takes longer. Everything takes longer than you think it's going to take. Like, take the time that you think it's going to take and just double it. Just double it.
Listen, double, triple, quadruple,
Yes.
because and it could be the simplest thing,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I'll just slip this in five
Maybe
minutes.
a week.
Nope.
4 weeks.
5 hours later, you're still there struggling, pulling out your
Yes.
hair. Anyway, yes.
Yeah. So I am deep in the throes of writing, but it is coming together. And hopefully more updates in the last quarter of this year is when I will start making some announcements about it. Um, but yeah, it's about entrepreneurship and my experiences and, Black women entrepreneurs and how important we are and all of that. So more to come.
More to come. I love that. I am so, so excited.
Yes, me too.
Big things. We're going to leave that up there, because that
Yes.
is what's big things are going on for sure. It is really, really just exciting that I'm seeing more and more of us
Mhm.
publishing, and it honestly, I don't care whether it is self-publishing, hybrid publishing through a major, whatever. The point is to get these stories out
Yes,
there.
out there.
That's right. That's really the big thing. And I am just happy that you are going to, because you've been published academically,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Multiple times. I mean, it's all in your bio. And I
Mhm.
know that was just like a sampling,
Yeah.
right? So you've been published academically, but being
Mhm.
published like trade publishing
Yeah,
is
it's
a
a whole
completely
different
different beast.
beast. Yeah. Mhm.
Is a completely different beast. So I'm excited that you're on the journey, and definitely reach out.
Oh,
We can
yes.
talk and text and whatever. Reach out whenever.
You will be involved.
I will be that I am good with that, because one thing that I have learned,
Yeah.
because this conversation is about academia, but it
Mhm.
really is broader than that,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
One thing I've learned, with publishing and everything else, is you cannot. Some things you have to do on your own, but you
Mhm.
can't do the thing on your own. The big
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
You might write the book on your own, but you can't publish a book on
Mhm.
your own.
Right. Yeah.
You absolutely need a village, and and that goes to it transcends, like I said, publishing. It is about academia.
Mhm.
Yes, you can absolutely, you can get into the university and do the degree and whatever, but you cannot graduate and get all those letters behind your name on
Mhm.
your own.
Right.
You cannot do it
Yeah.
in a silo. You need a village, and you need community, and you need people around you, and that's really what we're talking about here.
Mhm.
As Dr. Dr. Frazier said at the top of the show, we are all inherently brilliant,
Mhm.
and all have inherent genius that might express in different ways, but that genius and that brilliance are inherent within us. In
Mhm.
order to fully express it and maximize it, though, we need community,
Mhm.
right? Our individual genius is definitely ours, and it's unique and so on, but to get it out there, we
Mhm.
need community. And to not only get it out there, but to get it out there while remaining healthy,
Yes.
while remaining whole, while remaining centered
Yes.
and balanced and in a good mood and all those things,
Yeah, yeah.
right? We
Mhm.
need that support,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
being able to do the work for the long term is what matters, right? Like
Yeah.
you got into this, like everyone I know who is an academic or a researcher, you are using your inherent genius, using your skills, using your capabilities for
Mhm.
good, and you would like to continue to do that. And in order to continue to do that, you have to be here and you have to be healthy. So really invest in, you don't just have, like when you're doing a dissertation, you have a dissertation committee. You have
Right.
multiple people whose perspectives and input are important and help you form and shape and create this product. Everything else is like that too. Have a personal board of advisors, have a
Yes.
health committee.
Have a life committee. Have a absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Bring people
That's
onto your
why
team.
exactly. That's why, like in health, you should have. And there's a word, a name for it, but I'm forgetting. But you
Mhm.
need like a healthcare team,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not just your GP, or I am a big one for I will admit I will absolutely go down to what's it called, Minute Clinic.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, look, I just I have a cold. I just need a little something, so I'll go to Minute Clinic. But you really need in my specific case, you need your mental health support. You need
Yeah.
your general practitioner. You need your you know OBGYN, all of that stuff. You
Mhm.
need your internist, all of the different specialities.
Mhm.
You need them. You need a care team. So
Yeah.
for health, for education, for any project that you're doing, no matter how big or small, and of course, your biggest project is your life.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
absolutely need people. Now, you need the right people.
Yes.
That's a topic for another time.
Yeah, and
Something
sometimes the Minute Clinic people are the right people, because
listen,
sometimes they've got what you need
they
quickly and it's
do.
fine. And,
Yes.
that's why they're there. That's why we
Yes.
have these ecosystems in place, where people can tag in at will. Um,
Mhm.
we had a really good experience the other day. Um, where there was a thing that could have been either like a general practitioner issue or a dentist issue. And like calling the front desk and talking to the front desk people, they were like, oh, yeah, that's a dentist thing. Like, thank you for your input and thank you for
Oh,
your
wow.
guidance and thank you for being like a valuable, part of the pipeline and getting us where we needed to go.
Mhm.
That those different perspectives are all really valuable.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So, the company that you've mentioned, I've had it scrolling across a few
Mhm.
times, is Anansi
Yeah.
Research. So I have actually a couple of questions. First of all,
Yeah.
where did the name come from? Because I grew up hearing about Anansi, like in terms of folklore,
Mhm.
right? So I have always been very I don't know, thrilled, intrigued, thrilled and intrigued by your company's name. So where did that
Yeah.
come from?
Yes.
Is the first question. Let me not ask you a double barrel. Let me
Yeah.
ask you that one first.
Yeah, so that comes from where you think it comes from. Anansi the spider, I grew up hearing about Anansi too. And it is a very fun experience when I tell the name of the company to one of us, because I have gotten lots of fun feedback like, oh, is your family from Ghana? Are you from Jamaica? Like, are you?
Right.
It's like always a different country. And I say, nope, just, Black United States. But I know that it's a part of the African diaspora folklore
Mhm,
knowledge.
mhm,
And Anansi, for those who don't know, is the god of stories and is a little bit of a trickster and is known for overcoming larger, intimidating sort of enemies using cleverness and using wit. And so that is something that I definitely wanted to invoke, is that it's, African diaspora, Black based, it signals care for us and centering of us in my work.
that.
And also the importance of stories and the power of
Yeah.
storytelling and
Is
research.
My memory might be playing tricks on me, but is Anansi represented by a spider, or am I imagining that?
Yes, yes,
Okay, okay.
yes,
All right.
yeah.
I
And
thought
so I use the web. I think one of my logos has
it's
like
your
the web
logo.
on it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
yeah.
because
Mhm,
actually, the spider, and I don't know if this is, as you say, like an African diaspora thing or
mhm,
a broader thing, but spiders and spiders' webs represent writing.
mhm. I didn't
Yes,
know that.
yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
There are layers of
Yes,
symbolism there.
yes. I love
So
that.
I absolutely love that you do that. So anyway, so thank you very much for explaining that and telling us more about it. And we're going to wrap up soon, but before we do,
Mhm.
so your company is Anansi Research.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
my question is, how can Black women and Black people in academia use research as a tool for restoration, especially bearing in mind that listen, we would not like to thank the academy. The academy was not built for us,
Yes.
right? So bearing that in mind, how does research
Mhm.
serve as a tool for restoration and resistance?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's that, that star imagery that we are very familiar with as kids, with the more you know trailing behind it, the farther
Hmm.
you'll go. So the more that, research gives you a lot of skills, and it allows you to determine, whether an argument is actually an argument that is perhaps worth listening to or not. Is it informed? Are these data, are these statistics manipulated in any way? What kinds of questions were asked? How were they phrased? And then the art of being able to dig up reliable information and use it. And that is something that I focus on with Anansi too. We don't just do research for the sake of research. This is research that you're going to use to improve health or well-being or quality of life in some way. So we focus on the goal, and then we structure it around that shows that tells you the way, in terms of like, are you doing qualitative, are you doing quantitative, are you doing a survey, are you.
Hmm.
So the research skills that you get, and the ability to decipher research, the ability to find information, like having access to old libraries and old knowledge, and the fact that we come from that. If someone tells you, for example, that
That laugh had a whole story behind it.
for
I guess
example, that
that'll
this
be part two.
person is lazy, but historically these people built the country. Well, is that laziness? Is this an argument that is worth listening to? Is it based on facts? Is it based on reality? And what is based on facts? What is based on reality? There was a really good post up this morning on LinkedIn. That's, one of my favorite things I've seen, definitely today and maybe
Yeah.
this week, about 4 cities who now have Black male mayors, and the reduction in the homicide rate because of the community centered practices that they put into place, and because of specific things that they, as Black men, experienced and then were able to enact as part of their policy in the way that they run these cities, and then the impact on the city. That's data, that's research, and that's research in action, right?
Hmm.
So I think that it gives us access to all kinds of things that we can do to improve not only our personal worlds, but the world around us. And like I said, research can save the world if we use it to do so.
I love it. If used for good, if
Yeah.
used for good.
Hmm.
So before we wrap up, one more question for you, because we
Yes.
love name word letters behind our name. We also love resources, right?
Yes. 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 Yes.
So if love notes for Black women in academia, like if it were a course in soft life school, right?
Hmm.
What would be on the syllabus? Like
Yes.
what would be required reading, for
Yes. I'm gonna
example?
scroll over to my little notes here because I have a
Yes,
couple of
scroll
things.
on over, because I know. Listen, I know you
Yeah.
have a lot for us. So let's
I
go.
got my long list and my short list.
Right?
We're going to go with the short one for now. But definitely. Trisha Hersey's Rest is Resistance, just a token tome, like the top of the pile, the first thing,
Yes.
is really, really important. Definitely read that. Read Space to Exhale. It is lovely. It is beautiful. It is full of actionable things you can do. It is, there are citations in there, but there are like prayers. And so, at least I love the way that you wrote this book so that people could, actually work on improving themselves every time they pick it up. It's fantastic. And then Cleo Wade's Heart Talk, which is basically just like in introspective notes, but also, talking about there's a poem. Well, I think they're all poems, but they're all like sort of short, bite-sized pieces. So it's not something that you have to read in order. You can just pick it up and turn to a page. And it's like having, an affirmations card in book form, but it goes even deeper than most affirmations do. It's lovely. So Cleo Wade. And then Lovia J.'s I'm Judging You, which I don't have here, but also her Professional Troublemaker book.
I love them both.
Yes, both
yes.
of them are good. Actually, when I saw her original book, it was something that I like. I'm kind of a judgy person. I judge people all the time, and I don't do it based on like the silly stuff, right? Like how much money you have or what color you are or like your hair or whatever. I judge you based on the choices you make and how you treat people. And that's basically Lovey's book is like, yes, I'm judging you because you should be judged.
Right. Because here's why. Because here's why. And you need to be judged. Exactly.
Because you need to do better. You need to be a better human. You need to treat people better and make better choices and make the world a better place. There's that old hiking wisdom. If you go out, you leave the place better than you found it. So if you literally, if you see if you see litter on the trail, you pick it up and bring it out with you and take the garbage out, right? Yes. But also sort of anywhere, if you can leave a place better than you found it, you should be doing that. So I love that I'm Judging You is out there in the world and teaching people how to do that. Yeah.
I love it. So before we close, what is? I mean, we've covered a little bit of what is next for you in terms of your book, but is there anything else, anything exciting else that you have coming up, and also where can people find you?
Yes. So I'm most active on LinkedIn. So you can always find me on LinkedIn. You can go to anansiresearch.com and always send us a message there. Join the Healthy Scholars community on School. I am there. I will be there more over the next couple months. We are going to start our writing challenge later in July.
Love it.
Partly so that I can get some writing done, but also like we all need to be.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Put your own mask on first, right?
Yes.
There you go.
So for the next, 30 days, I think like the 21st or 22nd, I'm going to start it. And we're just going to do like 30 minutes a day. You're going to write every day. And, it'll give us some time to support each other as a community in our pursuits. And in terms of things coming up, I have some webinars on the agenda. My newsletter is starting back up because we took a pause to shift to make sure I was giving like storytelling tips in each one. So that is starting up later this month too. So lots of exciting stuff on the horizon. I will be, I'll be around. I will be out in the LinkedIn streets.
All right. Okay, good. Well, thanks again. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Lisa.
Absolutely wonderful. And I'm grateful that, you contributed to the book, and I'm grateful that you chose to join me here. Like, it really means a lot. And you're just such a fount of wisdom and have such good energy. So I appreciate you very, very much.
Thank you. Right back at you. I love getting to talk to you. This is my favorite thing. So
yay. Thank you. The feeling is mutual. So as usual, before we go, I'm going to share today's affirmation, which is, I am giving myself permission to live a soft life.
Yeah.
And so just take that affirmation with you and, write it in your journal and play with it a little bit and see how that feels to you. And ask yourself, what does that really look like for you, living a soft life and giving yourself permission to do so, whether you're in academia or anywhere else. right? What does it look like to give yourself permission to live a soft life? And with that, folks, that is the end of our show. And thank you so much for joining me today on Space to Exhale, the podcast. Make sure you tune in every Tuesday live on LinkedIn to catch the vibes. My favorite word again,
Yes.
Chantell. Right? And if you can't make the live show, that's no problem. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and YouTube to catch the replay. And if you want to dive deeper into what Dr. Chantell and I discussed today, make sure to follow her on LinkedIn. Go to anansiresearch.com and check out Healthy Scholars on the school platform. And of course, be sure to get a copy of my book, Space to Exhale, which is available everywhere: Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Marcus Books, Wiley Publishing, and wherever books are sold. And to stay in touch with me, follow me on LinkedIn and check out my website, spacetoexhalebook.com. So goodbye for now, everyone. And remember, you are worthy of rest, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of having time and space to exhale. Bye.